Hey everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to beat the Cruciball in Peglin, in particular Cruciball 7. Right now there are only 7 levels of the Cruciball out of a total of 20 in the future, but the current main constraints of the Cruciball are that you have 1 extra rock and its crits are weak in level 1, enemies and mini-bosses have increased health in level 3, you have 1 less refresh as well as crit peg in level 5, and finally all bosses have increased health in level 7. And while this video in particular is for Cruciball 7, this guide will help you beat all levels of the Cruciball as well as the normal game. But anyways, if you like the video, like the video! With every Peglin run, it starts off with choosing your first relic. And for choosing your first relic as well as any relic or any orb, the main thing you want to be thinking about is how you can die in the following level. So in the forest, your main threats are the Minotaur, the slime, as well as the 3 plants. And the way to not die to the Minotaur or the slime is to have high damage and to kill it before it gets to you. So usually orbs like the all orb nothing or the high dag orb can deal with that pretty easily. And then the plants, the way to deal with that is to have pierce or to have a ton of bomb synergy. So in this situation, we have the refresh shield that can refresh the board on every reload, the eye of the turtle, which is really good at giving us more options for orbs as well as relics, and then the popping corn, which can heal us for every 12 pegs that are hit during the battle. So in this situation, the eye of the turtle is really good at getting us the relics and the orbs that we want, and the popping corn is really good at keeping us alive, especially against sustained damage. Typically, like the plant or the slime isn't really super good against the Minotaur, but I think we go the popping corn as it can be really good later on, and as healing is just really good in general. The next main thing you want to focus on when starting in the forest, as well as any level, is you want to start by looking at the map and where you think you're going to want to go. So in this game, the main focuses you want are the elites, which give you a level up on an orb or a new orb, and then a choice of 1 of 3 relics. Then the main focuses you want are to go for the treasure chests if there are any other than the main ones that are always located. You then want to focus the random encounters over the normal encounters. The reason you want to do that is because in Peglin, especially in the Cruciball, you typically only want around 4 or 5 orbs. Once you get around like 8 or so, it gets very cluttered and it's very hard to get to the orbs that you want. So you really want to focus, at least in the forest because it's typically easier, you want to focus random encounters so that you can get the chance to discard your stones. Discarding your stones is probably the best thing you can do in the forest, and typically with only having 4 or 5 orbs in your bag, you'll get them to level 3 fairly easily. So you don't want to hit these normal encounters once you have your orbs because you're going to get a ton of opportunities to level them up, and you want to use the random encounters to either get new relics or to level up your orbs if you get a random encounter or to get rid of your stones. And the last thing about navigation is now that we know we want to go to the right to focus this random encounter, is we want to clear the right side of the board. And the reason for that is because all the pegs that are destroyed are the ones that don't show up in post-game navigation. So these pegs that are destroyed, even if they're refreshed, will not be there after we complete the round. Yeah, so now that we have a pretty clear path down here that we can just throw straight down, we can go for any of these exposed bombs because we know we have a pretty easy way to get out. All right, and we get our first option at an orb. We have our dag orb and our 4 rocks. The neck orb mancer can only hit non-hit pegs as well as bombs. Splat orb applies rubber, and the mim orb deals an additional damage for each peg hit this battle. So the mim orb can be kind of good if we have a high damaging orb with it. The neck orb mancer I'm not a huge fan of getting initially, and the splat orb I'm also not a huge fan of getting initially. I think we just skip because we don't have any elites until 2 more encounters, and then we'll go take this mystery. And hopefully we get a stronger orb after one of these fights. Yeah, so here this is great. We can remove one of our rocks. And then we head to the right, and hopefully we can get a strong orb to deal with this elite. So now that we defeated the second group of minions, we have an option to upgrade an orb or an option to heal. And since we didn't grab any of those orbs before, we just need to upgrade our dag orb and hope that this is enough damage to deal with the Minotaur or the slime. And if we go up against the plants, it's not really that big of a deal just because we have the popping corn. Alright, so we're against the Minotaur. Hopefully, we can start off with the dag orb, and then we really just want to hit every crit whenever we're given the dag orb. Because doing 350 damage is really, really strong early on. And then we just want to work towards getting this refresh for once we get our dag orb back. Alright, so we get another upgrade option. Sadly, we don't get another orb. I think we just get our dag orb up to level 3. And then 2 times damage when your health is below 25% or extra bomb damage. I think now, since we don't really have any big synergies, we do have the Dag Orb at level 3, and we do have healing. I think we just go for bombs. And then hopefully we go up against... The Minotaur was pretty easy there, and now that we're level 3, it won't be too bad if it's again. Alright, so here we're actually given another orb. And we don't have an elite immediately, we have some random encounters. So I think we take the Swoletorb, just because the Swoletorb is really good with the multi-ball or the Jack Orb Lantern, which is also really good with the Popping Corn. And it can also be good with bomb synergies if we have something like the Powder Collector. So we take the Swoletorb. And then here, the Peg Bag is insanely strong, just because we only have 1 refresh to start with. And then we go for a random encounter. And hopefully we don't go up against something that can kill us. Alright, we have to take the 4 damage, and now we're at 1. And then we go to the left. Hopefully it's something that can heal us. We can duplicate an orb. I think we duplicate a Dag Orb here. And then we grab a... I think we grab a chest, and then we hope we go up against the Minotaur. That's really, really good. Okay. Yeah, we'll go against them. Hopefully the Minotaur. That's fantastic. We'll use the Dag Orb to hit the crit again. Hopefully we can do a decent amount of damage. Alright, so here we're pretty heavily focused on crits. But we can pivot away if we want to. I think we don't clutter up our deck and we just get a heal. Whenever an enemy is defeated, refresh the board and Echo Chamber. I think we take Echo Chamber since we're going on pretty high damage from the Dag Orb. And we have 3 refreshes, so this isn't that big of a deal. And then it doesn't matter which direction we head to. Alright, the Refreshing Punch is also a really, really strong relic. Just because we have so many refreshes thanks to the Peg Bag. And it clears so many pegs, and it makes our Dag Orbs do so much more damage. So now we're given more orbs. And I think we just heal once again. And then of these relics, we can go for the Power Glove or we can go for the Mental Mantle. And the Corn is really good with the multi-ball and stuff like that, which is also good with the Mental Mantle. But the Power Glove is basically insane on every single orb. On orbs like the Dag Orb, it's not that much better. But if we do get the multi-ball, this will make them basically twice as strong. And then we're presented with the Inferno Orb, the Bram Ball, and the Nosferatu. The Nosferatu is pretty good at healing. The Bram Ball can do Pierce, and the Inferno Orb is good with bomb synergies. Currently, our main threats that we need to think about are in the castle, and the Ballista as well as the Elite that has all of the minions, we need Pierce for. I think we don't have to go Bramball just yet, and we can maybe try and get something better. But Bramball could be a potential grab. We'd have to get it level 3 for Dev Pierce, so I think we just take the heal. And then we hope we find something better. And now against the Mole, the main thing you want against the Mole and the Big Slime is you can really go either way. Bomb synergy as well as high damage is good against them. In this situation, we're going high damage, so basically whenever the Mole is near us, we want to use our Dag Orb and hopefully hit the crit, which we do, and we do a ton of damage to him. So similar to before, we need to think about our main threats in the castle, and we can deal with the wall as well as the mini wall because we have pretty high damage with our Dag Orbs, but we cannot deal with the Ballista or the Elite, which is all of the minions and the Big Knight. So we need to think of ways to get Pierce or ways to get Bomb Synergy. And I think these don't really matter. They don't make our deck any stronger. So we skip. And then we can get the Skulltimate, which kind of pairs well with the Popping Corn. But I think I get the Durable. The Durable seems really good, and it basically does the same thing as the Skulltimate, but can help if we get synergies like the Corn or like the Powder Collector or something like that. So I'll take the Durable. And now our main focus is getting something that has Pierce or getting Bomb synergies. So we want to probably go to the right. And I think a really strong thing to get would be the Bob Orb or maybe just a Bold Orb. So our options here, none of them have any overflow. We could get another Swoletorb, but since we don't exactly know what build we're going, Swole Orb with durable is really strong, but I guess we can take 2 Swole Orbs. Yeah, we can go Swole Orbs alongside Dag Orbs. And then maybe get a multi-ball later on. We have a lot of encounters, so we can get a lot of level ups. And this is another reason the corn is really, really strong, is because if we hit the elite, that is the big group of minions, the corn could potentially keep us alive. But we obviously want more bomb synergy or overflow of some sort. Now we have the option to upgrade an orb or heal. We don't have any elites or guaranteed elites. We can get them from the mystery encounters. But I think we take an upgrade on the Swole Orb whenever we can. And then we'll go to the right to get 2 mystery encounters to hopefully get rid of a orb and hopefully not go against an elite. And then when you're put in situations like this where you can heal and you're not taking any damage, using your weaker orbs is probably the way to go, just so you can heal up as much as you can. So here I'd like to throw this and hopefully not hit a crit. That way I can heal just a tiny bit up. Or if you have something like the stake that heals you every time you reload, you can just keep trashing your orbs and throwing straight down. So in this situation, we can take the Bold Orb, as we really need to get Pierce in case we go up against an enemy. We are cluttering up our inventory a lot, but this is probably the max we want. And we just try and get rid of rocks now. Yeah, so here is exactly why we wanted to take that, because we have to deal with all of these guys. And if we didn't take the Bold Orb, we probably 100% would have lost. So even though it wasn't super great for our team, we had to take it. And hopefully the Bold Orb does enough damage here. And then we kill everything. Yeah, so the Bold Orb is the only reason we made it through that. We almost didn't. But now we'll hit the crit. Hopefully we do a ton of damage here. We're still taking a decent amount. And then hopefully we can heal from the corn on this guy. All right, so we just barely defeated this guy. And it's only because we grabbed the Bold Orb. So now in the same situation, we need to think, how can I lose again? And I can lose if I go up against this a second time. And the reason I almost lost this one is because the Bold Orb didn't one-shot. So instead of healing, I think I want to make sure my Bold Orb is strong enough in case I go against it again. And also here, I need more healing because I was taking a lot of damage. So instead of getting a little bit of extra damage, I would like a ton of extra healing. Because since we have 3 refreshes on the board, having the cookie, I could potentially heal a ton. All right, so here we're also going to be able to heal a ton. And we can go for the Swole Orb because we might not hit the crit. And we really want to one-shot this mirror just because it does a ton of ricochet damage. And there I could have taken the Bold Orb, but I want to heal as much as possible with the corn, so I don't want to one-shot everything, I don't think. So now we have another situation. We're almost full health. I think we just take an upgrade, probably on the Bold Orb, just because we have the Ballista at the end. So I think our pierce damage is still important. We also would like ways to get more bombs, because we can't only rely on the Bold Orb here. So right here, the only situation we lose against the Ballista is not having probably any bombs. So we want to get bomb synergy, or maybe the Overhammer, or focus on a second Pierce orb maybe. All right, here we'll upgrade this Swole Orb to level 2. And then we want to go to the left. Actually, I think we want to go down the middle. I don't think we're worried about losing to any of the elites now. So we go down the middle to get a guarantee, or not a guaranteed, a choice out of 3 relics, which could potentially really help us against the Ballista if it's like the Overhammer or something bomb related. All right, and then here we want to trash towards the Bold Orb, which this is one of the reasons why having a cluttered inventory is really bad. But we haven't really gotten many opportunities to get rid of our stones, so there's not really a ton we could have done about it. We could have potentially not taken one of these Swole Orbs, but everything else was pretty much necessary to take in order to survive. All right, we go for the crit here. And then hopefully we just do 200, which we probably will. Yeah. All right. So here is a Pierce with the eye circle, which could potentially help us with the ballista, but I think our inventory is too cluttered. And then here, it doesn't really matter which direction we go. We're probably gonna fall down the middle. Okay, we're good. But we're hoping this elite will give us something that can deal with the ballista easier. Whenever you lose health, deal 2 times that amount to all enemies. That's kinda decent. Just because we're gonna be taking 30 damage from the ballista. It also helps we have the extra health and we have healing. So maybe we can just out-sustain the ballista. Alright, in the mini wall, the main way to kill is by having huge damage, which we have with the Dag Orb, as well as the Swolt Orb as well. Alright, so now we get the option to upgrade. We'll upgrade a Swolt Orb. And then here, we can apply blind when damaging enemies with our bombs. We don't really have a ton of bomb synergy, so I think we just look for the extra crits. It kind of sucks we're still not getting a ton of options to deal with the ballista, but hopefully our healing and the Swolt Orb will be, or hopefully our healing and our Bold Orb will be enough. Alright, so here we have probably another upgrade that we need to take for the Swolt Orb. We didn't get any more Pierce, but I think we'll probably be okay. So the main thing with the ballista is we want to do a ton of damage early, while these guys aren't really a problem. So hopefully we can bounce straight up and not get stuck over there. Yeah, the Dag Orb will do a ton of damage, especially with our durable. And now we want to hopefully get a refresh over here, as well as hopefully hit a bomb, which we don't. Yeah, so see, this is the problem with not having Pierce, is we just do a ton of damage to these small minions. But luckily we have the Bold Orb, and we can do a ton of damage with it. And we'll hit this refresh down here, and then it'll be nice because our next throw, we don't have to worry about another minion. So we can use the Dag Orb and hopefully get stuck over here. Okay, we just go down that way. So now I need to deal with, hopefully getting another bomb would be great, but we do not. And one of the problems with durable on this board is that it's really hard to get to these bombs. So we're just gonna continuously take damage from those. Yeah, so now we can go for the Bold Orb, hopefully go over here to the right side, and hopefully do a ton of damage. We'll hit the crit and we'll hit the refresh. All right, and now we can hopefully shoot over to the right to hit this crit. We do hit the crit, okay. Yeah, so that wasn't too bad. Luckily the Bold Orb saved us. If we didn't have the Bold Orb, we probably would have lost that. All right, now we get another upgrade for the stone. And now the main things we need to think about is our threats in the mine. So the way we can die in the mine is the big Peglin, the bomb guys, the upside down guy, and then obviously the QR code at the very end. So the big Peglin, we need to have high damage. Same with the upside down guy. And the bomb guy, we need to have healing. So the way to get more high damage is Glorious Suffering is pretty good with durable. It makes everything a Swolt Orb. The Pegnet is really good against the upside down guy because that board is kind of hard to deal with. And then the Matryoshka Shell is extremely strong because all of our orbs do a ton of damage. So realistically, we could take any of these. But the Pegnet, I think the main way we die is by the upside down guy or the big Peglin with our orbs just falling straight through. And the Pegnet can keep that from happening. So I think the Pegnet is the best way to keep us alive. The other two do a ton of damage, but I don't think we're really lacking in damage. And then one other main thing to think about once you hit the mines is if your build is strong enough to defeat the QR code, or if you think your build is strong enough to defeat the QR code, there's no reason to try and fight elites. You basically just take the least resistant path and get to the QR code. If you still need to upgrade some stuff, obviously you need to go for elites, But in this situation, I think with the Swolt Orb and the Dag Orb and all of my healing, I can probably deal with the QR code pretty easily. So I think I don't need to go to elites just because of how easy the final fight will be. So I'll focus the right side, hit this treasure chest, and then go on the left. Just because the other threats are the big Peglin as well as the upside down guy, which are elites. All right, this is very late, but we can give a stone, which is really, really good. So now we have one less stone. Our inventory is even smaller. We get another place where we can remove an orb. We get rid of a stone. So now we basically have all the orbs that we want. I think any upgrade that we would want, there probably isn't an upgrade for this build that we want. We want to get rid of the stone, and I think the double Swolt Orb, double Dag Orb, and then Bold Orb is probably optimal. Obviously, a Bomb Orb is pretty good in every situation, and I don't think we need healing just because we have the corn as well as the cookie. Okay, so this is one of the encounters that could potentially be dangerous depending on your build, but in this situation, we have 2 forms of healing, and we have 115 health. So these bomb guys won't really be that bad. The only way you really lose to the bomb guys is if you don't have healing or if you don't have very high damage, which we have both. Because if you don't have very high damage, you can potentially not kill the bomb guys. They can run up to you and then deal 30 damage to you. And if you don't have healing, just the additional 4 damage from all the red bombs can really stack up, and they can make it a lot harder in the following levels for you. But we take care of that one pretty easily, and once again, I don't think any orb except for a Bob Orb is something we would take. And we unfortunately played the route kind of poorly with our Pegnet. The Pegnet does make it very hard to route. So in this situation, I think we still go to the right, because that's only 1 guaranteed elite fight. This direction it would be 2, this direction it would be 2, this direction is 3, this is 1. There are options where we can hit a mystery and then we can navigate to the other side. So we can go left, hope for that, and then fight 2 mini bosses, or we can go this way. I think we go to the left. I think the mini bosses that we have that are threats won't be too big of a deal. An extra crit is great. Now we go to the right. And then once again, our only threats right now are the upside down guy as well as the big Peglin, which the magnet really does help with. So in this situation, I think we just duplicate a random. Duplicating all isn't bad, but then it could make it very hard to get to the Bold Orb. So I think we duplicate a random. Swolt Orb is good, especially against the QR code boss. Here we can remove an orb, we remove a rock. And now hopefully we go into the dark mini boss, which is probably the easiest one. And then we just use our Swolt Orb to stack up as much damage as possible. And then we go for the Bold Orb to kill everything on the board. All right, and now after finishing off this board, which is probably the easiest elite, there's still not a bomb that there's still not an orb that we want. But now every shot is a crit when fired below 30%, or bouncers contribute to damage. We're typically hitting crits no matter what, because there's so many crits on the board. But bouncers aren't really that great. I think we do this in case the QR code gets us very low. Just because I think that's the only way we might lose is if we get very low by the QR code and don't have enough damage from it. All right, now we have the upside down guy. And this was the main reason we got the Pegnet. Just because without the Pegnet, you can kind of get stuck around here, or you just shoot straight up over there. So I think I'm gonna go probably just for the refresh. And the Pegnet keeps us around, which is really, really good. Because without the Pegnet, we would have just dropped straight down immediately, but now we get a decent amount of damage off. Unfortunately, this refresh is kind of in a bad spot, but the Pegnet will probably just pull it towards us, or pull us towards it, or not. Yeah, the Pegnet kind of lies with its navigation. So here it says we'll go directly to this refresh, but it's a little bit off. All right, we'll take a little bit of damage, which isn't too big of a deal. I think we'll be fine. All right, yeah, the Pegnet made that very, very easy. And we'll heal once again. And then now, our only threat is the QR code, because whatever this is won't be too bad. And against the QR code, the main way you die is just by taking chip damage. And you take 4 shots each turn. So the oboe makes us take 4 less damage each turn. The pumpkin can make us do a little bit of extra damage, but typically won't make us do a ton because it's kind of a 1 in 5 chance because of how random the board is. But yeah, we definitely take the oboe here, which keeps us alive longer. And now we just have one more fight, which typically all the normal fights aren't too bad. This one's a little bit tough, but we definitely have the Peglin, which keeps us around for a while. And as long as we can just kill these guys before they get to us, it's not really a problem. Which thankfully we have the Bold Orb, and the Bold Orb can kill very easily. Because the Bold Orb being so big, it stays up on this board so long. One other thing that's kind of bad about this board is you can do a ton of damage from the red bombs to yourself, which could make you die if you don't have any healing. But in this situation, I have so much healing, it's not really a problem, so I don't really care about it. All right, and for our last choice of orbs, I don't think we care for any of these. The Orbsium is actually really good with the Swolt Orb because it hits it so many times. But the Orbsium kind of breaks the durable, so it isn't really a good combo. And now we're on to the final boss. And realistically, the QR code isn't the hardest boss because typically if you make it to the QR code, your build is strong enough to get there. And if it's not, the main way to die at the QR code is basically by not having enough damage, and it builds up a ton of damage over time. And the way to prevent that, if your orbs are very weak, is to get as much healing as possible. So if you get to the mines and your build is very weak, you need to focus on mystery encounters to get the Infernal Ingot, which heals you for every 5 pegs hit. Because basically if you can keep yourself at full health after every single throw, there's no way you lose to the QR code, and eventually you will kill off the QR code even if it's shooting like 15 damage each turn. But I do have a ton of damage, so I think I should be fine. I just stack up a ton of damage with my Swolt Orb by throwing it over here. And then I will hopefully do enough damage with my Dag Orb as well as my Bold Orb as well. And I do have a decent amount of healing from the corn and the cookie that even if I don't kill super fast, I'm probably not super worried. Now with the Bold Orb, I just want to throw to the biggest stacked up area and hopefully do enough to kill both of my targets at the bottom. If not, it's not that big of a deal. And then I can just stack up more damage. All right, so now I want to focus the lowest health. And then hopefully I can just get a crit over here with this Dag Orb. If not, it's not a huge deal. I just really want to hit refreshes and as many pegs as possible so that I can heal as much as possible. All right, so now I'm only down to 2, which they are doing a decent amount of damage each turn. And now I'm only taking 10 damage a turn, which I will probably be healing 10 anyways. And if not, he has to damage me for 8 turns in a row without me killing him. So I am probably very fine. And after stacking up 4,000 damage for a 47 health cube, that is how you beat Cruciball 7 in Peglin.